Okay, 50-50 raffle tickets. Don't forget, a lot of people here. It's going to be a big deal. All right, very good. I think we're ready to start. And again, what? Okay, Russ, what do you need?
I just want to let everybody know there are extra prizes tonight. I got a backpack I got for free. I got a shirt that doesn't fit me. And I got a crossword puzzle book. And I got a bunch of
needs to talk.
They talk right into this. All right, can you hear me? Okay, good. Okay. All right, let's bring this meeting to order at the very palatable time of, I don't have a watch, 7:05. Okay. Good evening, Sarah and friends. Welcome to what a great crowd we have tonight. And I'm so happy that y'all came down to see us. That's very, very cool. So Sarah and friends, do we have friends or first-timers, non-members? Can you stand up, please? Would you mind? Okay, I want you to tell me everything about you. Start at the beginning. Don't leave anything out. Okay, but wait a minute. Hey, who said that? Wow. Oh, yeah. We're streaming this, so don't say anything nasty.
No. My name is Harry Edwards. I am new to this. I just got my technician's license on Sunday. So
Hey!
I live in Wadsworth. I'm originally from Chagrin Falls. I've always aspired to be a ham. I never took it. I'm retired from 39 years of public service. So now I'm residing down here in Wadsworth, and I want to get into the ham radio. So
Thank you.
originally from Chicken Falls?
Here you go, sir.
Just talking to.
Yeah, just talk into the microphone.
My name's Neil Archer. I just have a technical license, but I got it maybe 14 years ago. I'm a real good friend of Benny Murawski. I went to a couple of your meetings, but not this big of a group before, and I'm trying to get back into it. So anyway, I just got a small handheld radio and a small little mobile, a 2-meter. So anyway.
You're a brave soul. You admit you know.
Thank you very much.
You're not new.
Here you go. All right.
All right,
Nick.
so I guess it's all set. My name is.
Yeah, you guys aren't that
Yeah,
new.
we're not new. That's what I was
Yeah,
going to say. We don't
okay.
I do not consider myself new to this group.
And you're not.
So,
But that's okay. You can talk anyway.
man, I
Because
appreciate you guys just welcoming Sandy and I down here and enjoying the wonderful dinner we had there at the Mexican restaurant and enjoying the company and all of y'all. Just a wonderful group to welcome outsiders to be the insiders. So we do appreciate that very much, and this is what makes a club a real club. So thank you so much. Oh, okay. KF5ADE, and we're out of Cibolo, Texas. Cibolo sits about 8-10 miles northeast-ish kind of from San Antonio. If you know where New Braunfels is at, that's the next best town to be into, and it's 11 miles from us. So we sit halfway between the two.
Are you guys on 35?
Yeah, we're pretty close to 35. 35 is just down the street from us a little
Wow.
bit. So real close. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, actually, I was looking forward to it, but I haven't found the snow yet. Yeah, tomorrow. We're leaving. Not tomorrow. We'll be leaving. So I'll turn it over to Sandy. Let her say it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Nick. We appreciate that. But now the important person's talking.
This is KG5SYC, and I too am out of Cibolo, Texas, and we have 4 children, and we have one up here in your local area of Ohio, and that we come and visit. And as Nick was saying, we're just happy that you guys are all very welcoming to us, and that I'm happy that you guys are on EchoLink so we can keep in contact with you all. That's great because I talk to you guys, but the local people, I don't get on very much and talk to them, so you should feel very privileged.
Thank you.
Okay, I want to welcome Nick and Sandy back into the state of Ohio. When you guys were here, I think 2 years ago, you participated in all the nets and everything that we did, and it's good to see you again. There you go, sir. How are you?
Good. My name's Cody Decker. I'm from Canal Fulton. Just recently got both my technician and my general within the last month. Call sign KE8ZTK, and trying to learn as much as I can. Just picked up a 991 here about 2-3 weeks ago, and got a Comet GP9 that I'm using for my antenna, so it seems to be working quite well. So yeah, thanks.
Very nice. All right, well, all I can say is that if you are new or you're looking for help or camaraderie or whatever, you came to the right place because, oh, and if you're hungry, by the way, we eat well too. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute, one more. Okay, and I'm really not trying to hurry, but I have to. Okay, say hi to everybody. Say hi.
Say hi. What is that?
Are you not going to say hi?
Say yay, Betty. Come on. Huh?
Yeah, she's. You are wonderful, and you're going to be a great hand.
Well, thank you.
All right. All right, I coined the phrase the best looking hams in the hobby because, look around, we are. But then we had to add the nicest too, so I don't know about that. All right, next up, announcements. We have a SARA VE session Saturday, February 3rd, Wayne County Justice Center in Worcester. The man up there on the upper right-hand corner, that's Stefan N8WB. He's sitting right over here. And he will be talking to us in just a few minutes about our VE program. And, but this is an announcement. If you have any questions or if you're looking to upgrade or get a license, you can go to w8wky.org. That's our website. Under the Education tab, it says exams or something, or get licensed or something like that, but you can't miss it. Jason McCormick over there has done a fabulous job with the website. It is really easy to navigate, and we like it a lot. We're just going to move on. I got an email, and that's it up here, from Scott, N8SY. I'm still trying to figure this one out. But nevertheless, Scott wanted to say, now he just got elected as the Great Lakes Division Director. That's a big deal. And he is a friend of SARA's. He is also an advocate for SARA, and we have supported him in his election campaign, etc. Anyway, he wanted to say hello to everybody. I promised that I would do that, and here you go. There's Scott, there's his hello, and should we say hello back to him? Sure. 1, 2, 3. Hello, Scott. Oh, yeah, baby, I'm liking that. All right, moving right along. A couple more announcements. The CFAR Cam Fest is coming up Saturday, April 13th. I know that's pretty far in advance, but if you're looking to get a table and maybe sell some of your precious cargo. We're not talking about Betty. Okay, good thing, good thing. You probably want to get a table sooner than later. So that's really all I have, the VE session and the CFAR Camp Fest. Does anybody else have any announcements for the group? Jason?
Just a reminder, Saturday is the VHF Simplex contest.
Okay. Were you going to segue into that during your stint? No? Okay.
It is a pure announcement.
Okay, and it's, what's the website for that?
ohsimplex.org.
Thank you. ohsimplex, ohsimplex.org.
There is a lot of 2-meter and 6-meter VHF FM activity that day. So if you're a tech licensee with basically any reasonable radio with an antenna, you will probably hear activity. We have a lot of participation in this area.
Yeah, and check the rules out online. They changed it from previous years, so you want to make sure you understand what's going on with that. But easy enough, a lot of fun, and it's short. So you don't have to dedicate it an entire weekend or anything. Yes, sir?
Winter Field Day is January 27th, 28th. Yep.
Forgot about that. Winter Field Day. I don't know that we are doing anything necessarily. I know. We, yeah, well, yeah. I agree. Eric?
County EMA, corner of Coleman and Burbank in Worcester, we will be doing both the VHF plus Simplex and the Winter Field.
Awesome. Awesome. Very good. That's the Worcester group, right? Okay. Okay, anybody else? Dave?
Question, is there a sign-in sheet going on?
Yes, there is. Sign-in sheet, where is it? Oh, yeah, and everybody, please sign in the sign-in sheet.
Hey, Gary, I don't think people on this side heard what Eric was saying. I only knew what he was saying because I already heard it before.
Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm holding the microphone. Can you repeat your announcement, please?
Yes.
Pretty please?
Do I have to push anything?
No.
All right. Yeah, it'll only help here. The Wayne County group will be doing both the VHF Simplex contest and also Winter Field Day at the Wayne County Emergency Management Agency Communications Center, and that is Burbank and Oldman in Worcester.
Thank you, thank you.
Everybody welcome.
All right, very good. We have a relationship, if you would, with the Worcester group. We have a lot of people our group belong to them and their group belong to us. For instance, Eric there, you're still the president, right?
Unfortunately, yes.
Nah. Okay, any other announcements before we move on? All right, nicely done. Okay, approval of the minutes. Mike, our esteemed treasurer, I'm sorry, he's going to be our new treasurer. Well, I'm sorry. Wow. Faux pas. Okay, Mike is our secretary, KE8. There you go, Quebec Whiskey Echo. Easy for you to say. Okay, approval of the meeting minutes. I trust everyone has taken, it was in November, okay, that was our last meeting. So any questions about the minutes themselves? Nope. Motion to approve? Motion. Gary? Second? Marty? All in favor? Aye. Okay, that's enough. I'm not going to say who's opposed. Anybody opposed? There you go. All right, nicely done. All right. Oh, geez.
Why do I look like a
Jeff.
bank robber?
Jeff, I don't know how that happened. Who put that up there?
Bank robber.
I just.
Yeah, I guess, apparently.
Okay, treasurer's report. WATB.
All right, statement beginning balance. Statement beginning balance 446912. We did have a donation from the Bartsey family. Thank you very much. All-Star hosting fee is in there, and then Christmas party dinner sales. That was collections for the Christmas party we had. And then, of course, we had expenses for the Christmas party catering, the party room and bartender, and also memberships coming in, and another all-star hosting fee. And balance is 410908, 1100 in repeater replacement maintenance allocation, and 300908 in general fund.
Any questions on the treasurer's report?
There was no payment to the magician, was there?
Yeah, well, there was payment, but it disappeared. Ba-dum-bum. Okay, let's motion to, okay, Stefan, motion to approve the treasurer's report. Second, Fred, WA8KOC. Anybody disagree with it? Let's put it that way. Okay, very good. All right, next up. Tonight I wanted to do something, I mean, after all, it is January, it is the beginning of a new year. I wanted to do a state of the club scenario or announcement. However, here's the deal. The president stands up and says, this is what we did, or in some cases they say, this is what I did. Well, I got to tell you right now, I didn't do any of this. We have some fabulous people in this club that do a lot of stuff, and we do have a crack. I go through this every time I say this, but we do have a crack tech committee headed by Jason McCormick, N8EI, and I'm going to have Jason tell us about our year this year. I think once we put all this together, you are going to be amazed. Not amazed, but amazed at how wonderful or how much work has been done on the repeater system this year.
You know, you only asked me for slides. You didn't tell me I had to talk.
Oh, I didn't?
No, I think you're missing one.
No.
Oh, you were, okay.
I had to break it up into two.
Okay. All right. So this is kind of, this one's topical rather than in chronological order. But a couple of things we did. We had began this last fall, completed it here February of 2023, which was the installation of the new 2-meter repeater. We had been using the Bridgecom for about a decade-ish, maybe a little less. And we decided that it was time for an upgrade there. So we did, a few people in the club will remember, we did authorize a purchase of a Kenwood NXR 710, which is a commercial grade repeater. We also purchased a shelf spare with identical programming. I'll talk more about that in a few minutes here. We also did a cabling replacement. We had various vintages of the different cables interconnecting everything. That may not sound like a big deal, but when you're talking about a high RF environment with a, at VHF with an amplifier and wanting to get really, really good signal receptivity, cabling is very important. We replaced all of the existing cabling with ABR 213 is a double shielded silver stranded or a double silver braided cable that's a very high quality cable.
It's what's generally used in commercial repeater installations or commercial type installations for the jumper cables, which is what we deployed. And it's made a huge difference. We have actually had a number of people talk about this for a number of months after we did it. We definitely had better reception of weak signals. We have a lot of HT users, which is good, but those can be hard to hear. There was definitely better receptivity of that. We eliminated the audio noise that we've been having problems with. And most interestingly, our repeater for many years had been slightly off frequency due to the design of the bridge comm and how we were using it. I forget who sent it to us, but someone sent us a picture of their high definition spectrum display and said, "You have a beautiful signal." I should have printed that out and put it up there. Is that who did it? Okay. So that's what we did with the 2-meter machine. Not to be outdone, the 70-centimeter machine decided to die because apparently it wanted to be replaced as well. Yeah, the call sign was jealous and it felt like it needed more. We did know that the receive radio had been having some problems. It wasn't affecting the digital operations, or at least it hadn't been affecting the digital operations, so we hadn't really done anything with it. But it finally did die. The receive radio was quite dead, or deaf, I guess. It turned on, but it didn't hear anything. We did make a temporary install. I actually have a TKR 850 that I use for testing stuff that we put in place. And it worked reasonably well given the fact that I didn't tune anything. I just changed the frequency and threw it in the rack. So it mostly worked for a month or so. Nick missed it. Nick was happy that it was back. We did receive a donation of 2 used commercial TKR 850s. Those came from Dave Firus's, or Pam Firus. Scott helped out with that. I got them cleaned, tuned, and aligned. Cleaning was more interesting than you might have expected with that. They were installed, and again, we have a shelf spare with identical programming that you're going to talk about in a few minutes. Did the same thing with the cabling, replaced all the cables. So we figured since we were in there elbows deep in the rack anyway, let's replace those cables too. We did that, and noticeable improvement again, especially with some of the less expensive DMR radios. People had problems getting in before. This cleaned up some of that. So that was what went on with the 70-centimeter machine. So I mentioned this a couple times. So historically, SARA had the repeater replacement fund. And if you see on the Treasurer's report, we still keep that. We still have money in there. But people may wonder why we haven't. We had been pretty consistently refilling that allocation year over year. We haven't in the last year and a half. Here's why. We've gone from simply having a fund to replace the repeater system to actually maintaining redundancy for the repeater system. We have now 3 2-meter repeaters. One is the Kenwood that's deployed, one's a Kenwood that is on the shelf, and one is the old bridge comm. We were going to sell it, but we decided we're going to keep it around. It's actually lent out right now. Someone else is using that to get them over the hump of a down machine. So it's a nice little extra that we can, have something available to use that at need. The same thing with the 70-centimeter machines. We have 2 of the Kenwood TKR 850s. One's deployed, one's on the shelf. If we have a problem with one of them, it's a trip out to the repeater site, yank, replace, and things should be back on the air. We also have 2 amplifiers for each system. The 2-meter machine currently has an installed Crescend amp, and we have the older Henry. I don't know if people remember, we had a Henry amp. That was the origin of the roaming spur back in 2018, where if you watched it, the signal would just kind of wave and dance all over. That is repaired and cleaned up. I have that on the shelf, as well as we have 2 70-centimeter amplifiers on the shelf. Or, I'm sorry, one's deployed, one's on the shelf. And we also have a spare 12-volt power supply. So I wanted to highlight this because this is why we haven't allocated a bunch of money back into the repeater fund. We know the repeater system is a big draw for the club, and our strategy with all of you as members and the generous use of dues and things like that, we're in a much different place than we were even 3-4 years ago. So this is kind of the strategy we've adopted for keeping the repeaters going. Any questions before I keep talking and talking?
You say the two repeaters got donated to us?
The TKR 850s were donated, the 70 centimeter ones.
Can we gift something?
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. We sent Pam a letter and a gift certificate to Marie's, right? Yeah. Yep. All right. We also had, this was mostly Marty, worked on this with Eric Meringue a little bit, WD8KNL, and was there someone else involved in that, Marty, or were just you two guys?
The monitoring,
Yeah.
just Eric and I.
Okay, yeah, and mostly Marty. We had newer, larger capacity batteries installed. Every time the top battery comes up, someone says, well, how long does it last? And I say, well, I don't know, how long are you going to talk? Because that's pretty much how long the batteries will last. The batteries now have a charge controller that can power the entire stack through a power outage. So before, we had a problem where when everything came back on and there was a voltage rush, the system would go down for a minute and come back up because the charge controller couldn't hold everything at the switchover. That's been replaced. There is power monitoring of the site. Marty gets some text messages as part of his overall site operations. And this happened, I've discovered that there was a logic error in the controller that it would turn it over to the battery notification when power was restored, which was not particularly helpful. So if you hear on this is on 3.9, if you hear the courtesy tone kind of go like dee-dee-dee, that means that the repeater is on battery. It is not a CWB or D. I've been asked that multiple times. It just happens to kind of sound like it. It was a sound that I came up with in about 10 seconds of programming the machine. And all the internet connectivity and related equipment is now also on battery backup. So since we have a large All-Star and Echolink use case, all of that in the internet connectivity that supports that's all on battery. So overall, a lot of improvements in the last year or so with that as well. All-Star capabilities. This has been an interesting on-again, off-again thing all year. As many of you who are on the nets know, we have a pretty significant investment in All-Star. We have a lot of other systems that link into us for nets for All-Star. So we did deploy a high resiliency hub node. We ran that for about a year, and then the hosting provider started having problems. So that is currently sitting back in my basement at the moment. I think we're probably going to keep that as it is, and I'm going to take it out to the repeater site, and we'll run it out of there, I think is going to be the long-term plan for that. We've also started to support direct All-Star connections for users rather than the use of the All-Star portal. I know Mark, KC8FQV, who actually I know he's watching the stream, he's been using that. We got a couple other people at a trial. We're probably going to expand the availability of that in 2024 for people who might wish to get away from Echolink. I think it's no secret that I'm not a big fan of Echolink, so I'm motivated to help you not use Echolink, at least for our repeater system. We also deployed a new monitoring dashboard. If you haven't seen that, it's pretty nice. Looks pretty good on different platforms. And then finally, we did make some filings to the FCC this year. The club commented on shortwave modernization. That was the request for rulemaking from the day traders that wanted to consume all available HF bandwidth. I don't think that petition's really going anywhere, but we did comment on that. And we also have commented on OET 23-120, which is the reallocation of amateur frequencies in the 60-meter band. Surprisingly enough, we were pro of having more access to the 60-meter band. So, I think that's my, yep, that's my last slide. Any questions on the tech committee stuff? Yeah. Yeah.
Since I'm a EchoLink user, does that mean that eventually somewhere in the latter part of 2024, you guys are going to go ahead and disconnect EchoLink?
Nope.
Okay.
As long as it continues to work with All-Star and there's no plans for that to happen, I mean, that's still maintained, so it's going to stay around.
I don't know, I'm using All-Star, and I've got very little to no success with using All-Star, and maybe it's because of my lack of computer skills of using it, but EchoLink just fell into place with me, and it works. It gets me connected to y'all, besides a couple other East Coast reflector, if I want to go dabble over there. And it makes nice to go ahead and talk to the rest of the world, too.
Yeah, the problems with EchoLink are there's a huge delay in the audio. And when we get some of our bigger nets, that's where we run into the problems. The other thing is EchoLink is dependent on a worldwide network of proxy servers, of which the number of those keep diminishing. So that's kind of why we're looking at offering some other alternatives. But we're not retiring EchoLink. It's just, in my view at least, there's better tools out there. Yeah.
Just as one of the net control operators, one of the things that I come across when I'm listening and participating is this point where everything gets a little hinky and we get 3 or 4 people checking in from different systems all at the same time. And very often I can pull out all the different calls and write them down and get everybody and sort it all out, most of them. Can you please give everybody some advice on the protocol as to how to check in those kinds of situations? What I tend to do is I let it beep, I let everything drop, and I wait 3, 4, 5 seconds before I key up.
Yes, that is the magic to it. Is especially when we have the larger nets. Don't quick key right after someone stops talking, or even right after if you're on RF and you hear the courtesy tone, because not every system has the same drop, the same courtesy tone, the same unkey time. Space it out. You'll be okay if you don't squeeze that push to talk right away. Give it 2 seconds, and that'll help out quite a bit.
And when I do check into a net, I throw out my call and I wait for the control operator to recognize me. I don't assume that they didn't hear me.
Right.
Because I heard somebody double with me. There's a lot of times you can hear 2 or 3 calls at the same time and get them all sorted out.
Right.
And you don't need that second call. So
Yep.
just wait to see if you're recognized.
Yep. Patience and don't quick key. That helps everything. Yeah, Brian.
What about the EchoLink on 6 meters?
What about it?
It hasn't worked for quite some time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
We've lost a significant amount of check-ins with EchoLink being down.
Oh, okay. If I don't send you an email or something the next day or two, remind me, and I'll take a look. It should be working as far as I know, so I don't know why it's not working. I'll take a look at it.
It was only one direction, I think.
Yeah.
Isn't it one?
I think you can hear it, but you can't talk to it.
Yeah, there's.
All right. I didn't know that was broken. I'll take a look at it. All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right, thanks, Jason. All right, moving right along. As you can see, this was the biggest, this is the focus of the club to a large degree. Our whole club revolves around a splendid repeater system, and Jason and a couple other guys, John N8CD and Marty and the rest of the tech committee. Go online, check it out. The guys do a great job, and very much appreciated. Okay, the Treasury. I don't know where that guy comes from. I didn't do that, but I promise I'm going to find out, They will be punished.
punished,
They will
okay.
be punished.
Good.
Hopefully that's enough. I do want to say this. Jeff sent me a synopsis of his treasury report, and it was so well done and well written. I said, I cannot. I would have just read it because it was just magnificently put together. Thank you, sir.
Oh, well, thank you.
Anyway, Jeff?
All right. Firstly and most importantly, I'd like to say a big thank you to all the SARA members through their membership that keeps SARA as the premier club in the state. And as it says, we had another banner year in 2023 for members renewing, and we added 24 new members, generating roughly $37.50 to the club treasury. That is 24 new members in 2023. Many of those were new hams that attended our testing sessions. And I think this is in no small part a testament to how friendly and well-run our sessions are and the group that takes care of them. We'd also additionally like to thank those individuals this past year that gave donations unsolicited to the club. That's really, really nice. In 2023, we also had great success with apparel sales, including the Field Day and Barometer Net apparel, netting an additional several $100s to the club treasury. SARA's use of funds are focused on keeping our repeaters on the air, as Jason said, with a wide range of connectivity and, of course, the best sounding audio around. Of course, this would not be possible without the generosity of Marty Baker and the use of his tower and facilities. Give Marty a hand. Some funds are also allocated to assist with club projects, builds, and activities, some of which include our build of direction-finding antennas, which we subsequently used for a fox hunt, VHF, UHF, J-pole, and off-center fed HF antenna builds, which a number of our members currently have in use. And if you haven't been to or noticed our field day setup, please take a look if you visit. You'll notice a good bit of high-quality coax and quite an array of bandpass filters that are required for more concurrent stations to operate simultaneously. Many may also not be aware that the club has items like multiple headphones and connectors that are used at field day so that visitors and others can monitor the radios along with the operators. You might also notice the nice bright image on the large screen in front of you tonight, mostly so we don't have Gary attempting to draw images with a whiteboard by hand. Nobody wants to see that. All these things are only made possible, of course, by your membership. As of January, like I said, 2024, the club has 4109.08 in the treasury. And as with any organization, we have the usual expenses and ones that come with growing larger, which is a good thing. If you haven't paid close attention to the treasurer's report each month, you may have missed some of the regular annual expenses, so I'll cover a few of the significant ones here. Of course, we have the club meeting facility, field day hall rental, and miscellaneous that goes along with that. Insurance policy, we do have that, liability, large policies for that. Web hosting and domain registration fees. Of course, the summer picnic and the Christmas banquet. And as Jason had mentioned earlier, of course, there are the long-term expenditures to ensure that we have modern equipment and connections, such as the replacement of sometimes quite old and failing equipment like repeaters, amplifiers, filters, and of course associated cabling. This can be in the several $1,000s range, but thankfully only needs to be addressed maybe every decade or so. And then we strive to give as much back as possible while maintaining an adequate reserve to cover any unforeseen expense without the need to ask membership for anything additional. And to wrap up, I'll just say 2024 is already shaping up to be another great year for the SARA Club and its best-looking hams in the business.
Any scores? Nicely done, Jeff. Thank you very much. I got to tell you, Jeff has done an excellent job over the last, what, 4 years? 4 or 5 years, something like that? Whoa. I mean, really terrific job. Jeff will be stepping down this year, but we have a fine business replacement in the wings with Mike here. Mike does taxes and stuff like that. And he said that since he is now the treasurer of the club, he'll do all of your taxes for you for free. Did I really say that? And honestly, I do apologize for that picture, Jeff. All right. Oh. I don't know where these pictures are coming from, I'm telling you. The social committee, Russ and I have done our best to do our duty to the club and country. Right, Russ?
I'm not feeding the country.
You're not feeding the country? Ooh. Russ does a great job. Actually, the Christmas party was all Russ. I mean, he's the guy who put it together. And I understand that this year I wasn't here for this, unfortunately. The first time I'm not here, and it is, I guess, arguably the best party yet, the best attended party yet. Anyway, I heard the food was terrific, and you guys had a good time. So that's the important thing. The social committee basically is in charge of apparel sales, barometer net t-shirt contest. We did that last year. Barometer net luncheon in association with that design contest, and that was a lot of fun. We had a number of people, a lot of people that weren't SARA members, but just barometer netizens. Yeah. And it was a great luncheon, which kind of spawned some ideas about intra-club and just reaching out a little bit more. The social committee does field day support. We feed you, and we feed you more. Always a good time. The family picnic, and again, as I mentioned, the holiday extravaganza. We can do more, but we need more people to help if we're going to do more. Russ, you're up.
When we have these events like the picnic and things like that.
Wait, whoa. I can hardly hear you. Here.
Open your ears.
Okay.
When we have these events like the family picnic and stuff where we have you sign up, if you sign up, please show up. We only had about half the people that signed up for the picnic show up, and there was a ton of leftover food. So don't sign up unless you're going to actually come to the event. Thank you. What are you looking at?
All right.
What are you trying to say? He's a curmudgeon.
People signed up and bought food for those people, and then they didn't show up. Rude. I don't care.
Well, they paid their dues, so. And I think everybody went home with a whole bunch of food, so there you go. Anyway, the events are good, and we're going to continue to improve the events, and I'm going to put a call out for a few more folks to help us, and I think that's a good idea. There's other things we can do. I mean, social is social, and I mean, the sky's the limit there. I'm not going to go through those possibilities, but 2 people doing it, and it doesn't work real well. We need a committee. We really need a group to work on things. And with 125 people or 140 something, whatever it is nowadays, you guys really want to eat? Okay. Moving right along, the VE team has done another splendid job, and we certainly appreciate Stefan, who has He took over for Barry Humans, who did a fabulous job for about 20 years and had to fill some big shoes, and he did that in a big way. Stefan?
That was the first thing that I was going to say. Everybody says, oh, what a great job you're doing in the VE team, but Barry was the one that built the team and really got it focused all those years. And he's the one that I'd like to just have a big applause for Barry if he's listening. If you go to my QRZ.com webpage, you'll see my whole ham journey where it started in 2009. I'm not going to go into great detail with that, but one thing that's on there is I had to take a test somewhere. And I took it with Barry and SARA. With another friend of mine, Bob Janisek, who is KD8LIV, and he's in Jersey again with his brother, who got us involved, which is Lou Janisek, N2CYY. Long story short, I always wanted to get involved in the VE team once I got my license. And so I asked Barry if I could jump on the team, and he said, yeah, absolutely. And I hung around him for like 3-4 years. And then it was right before COVID. I think it was 2019. He says, hey, next year in 2020, would you take over the VE team? I said, sure. COVID hit, and then he called me on the phone, and he said, hey, I'm going to have to change that. Do you mind? I said, no, I don't mind at all. If you remember, there was nobody testing anywhere. There was really nobody. There might have been a few, but everybody that was looking for a test, nobody was there. Jason and our president, Gary, and I got the church, Sharon Center, United Methodist, 2020. We opened up a session, and I figured, oh, this is great. It was my first time that I'm running the VE team. First time. 5 people signed up. I said, oh, this is good. I look a day later, 15. Then I go, oh, well, it's gaining, 25. And I'm looking, I'm going, holy Christmas. I kept calling these guys going, the number's higher. And it was like 34. We tested 34 people in the COVID year, the very first test session. The reason I said that is because we have a great group of people in the VE team. We actually have 21 people on the books that are VEs. If you look at our roster, you can count 21 X's. The one thing that I do want to stress before I go any further with this is I'd like to get more people involved in the VE side. If you're on the list, take a shot at it. It's not that hard. One of these days I'm going to schedule with Gary and do one of the presentations just to show you how a normal VE session goes, like all the things that you would see on the screen. How many people are doing the February test coming up? How many people here are doing from Wayne County? You guys are doing the Wayne. So we got, and Doug's going to be part of the thing. Doug and Bill, on that first COVID test, they worked the front door so we could just stay and be masked and all the stuff that we needed to do. And that was the most dynamic thing that could have happened because these guys have worked that front door ever since, and it's changed the way that their testing is run. I want to thank you guys for doing that. You and Bill, Doug and Bill. I'll get out of the way. If you notice here, the Wayne County Justice Center, that's our first test. We actually, 2 years ago, we went to Jason called me up and he says, hey, would you like to, the Wayne County reached out to me and said they would like to get a couple sessions in. Would you mind doing it? And I said, no, we were doing 4 a year, quarterly. And 2 years ago, we threw them on the list, so now we're doing 6 a year, which is not a problem. It's just every other month. So February, which is coming up, our first session in February, which Gary just showed, was February 3rd. If you want to get licensed for the first time, if you're online and you're watching this, or if you want to upgrade to either general or extra, please come on down. Wayne County, in the beginning of 2023, we actually tested, and we got, in February, we got 7 people, as you can see. And then down in August, we do them again. We had 4 people. It's a little light there, but you know what? Those are people who got their licenses and are on the air and are amateur radio people. I don't care if it was 1 person that came. We're going to keep a test session open. And then this Sharon Center United Methodist Church, I'm going to tell you one thing about Sharon Center. I do a lot of stuff for them. I help set up their projectors, and I've set up their new sound system. They don't charge us cent one. Neither does Wayne, but they don't charge us cent one for us being down in the basement and doing those testing. They open their doors anytime we need a test session. So we had 31 people in 2023, a little shy of the 34 in 1 month in 2020, but we had 31 people, and that's 31 people, and like you said earlier,
24 or 25 of them said they came through the testing session, the new members. This is big, it's huge. And what we want to do is we want to do more testing, and we are going to move into the exam tools. I don't have a date for you, but you're all welcome to go and look at the hamstudy.org and look into the exam tools. If you're a VE, we will be reaching out to you soon because I want to really get that thing moving, and that will allow us to do digital testing and grading quickly with the computer, and that's the exam tools. And these guys are great. They actually really hit the bricks running in COVID year and did all online testing. Now, we're not going to do that phase. We're going to do in-place testing when we go to exam tools. We're just going to use their software and their reader on the computer to grade the test, but we're not going to actually sit with cameras and stuff like that in our homes and, you know, not go to a place. We like it when we interact with people, and other people have told us that as well. That's about all I have to say, other than if you're a VE, I have 21 VEs on the list, and out of the 21 VEs that are on the list, 7 usually do any of the testing that we do throughout the entire year, which is fine because those 7, including myself, Gary, Jason, all these guys at the table here, we enjoy, and other people, we enjoy testing, but you know what? We'd really like for anyone that's a VE who's thinking about doing that to get involved. Let me know. If you are a VE on our list and you're not getting the emails, let me know. See me afterwards, and I'll make sure that we get you on the list, and I apologize for that. That's all I want to say, but 31 people we had in 2023.
Real quick, so why don't you tell people if they're interested in being a VE, how they do that?
Okay, so if you're interested in being a VE, now one of the things that we do that really picks up a little bit is we really look for extras that want to be VEs. You can be a VE if you are a tech and a general, but no, general, yeah. So you could, but we like it to be an extra so you can test everybody. It just sort of helps with the paperwork and all the other things. If you're an extra, all you have to do is go to the ARRL site. I wish I put that up there. Look for VE, and there's a PDF you download. This is how hard it is. It's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. You go there and you download a PDF, you read the PDF, you print out the last page, and you fill it in from the book. That's it. And you send it in. They grade it, they send you a little sticker back, or a little card back, and then every 10 years, you get a new sticker that coincides with the date of your license. So the last time I got renewed was for 2030. They sent me a little sticker that says I'm good on my VE card for 2030. That's all you got to do. That's really all you got to do. If you're interested or want more information, what I'll do is I'll start posting another website we could put up, or I put on the same page on the bottom. If you want to be a VE, go to the ARRL website, and that's what we'll start doing as well. But I want to say thank you to everyone here because, man, you've all opened up a huge window for people to get their licenses. And one last thing. We scan everybody's paperwork in. I go home right after a test, I scan it in, I send a PDF on the same day, and people are licensed within 2 to 3 days of the next week. We used to have to send all that paperwork in and wait more than a week or 2 weeks. But now it's within 3 days. And the only bummer was when we weren't scanning that in, we had that huge debacle on the Christmas thing in 2021 or 2021, and that was they lost our mail package in 2021, and that's why I started going to the scanning, and it's been perfect ever since. That's all I have to say, but thank you all. And please, if you want to join the team, just come and see me, or if you're not on the mailing list and you are a VE, come and see me as well. Thanks, Gary.
You are welcome. I do want to say, Stefan kind of downplays his role, but to think of 34 people coming in under COVID and the regulations and the rules that we had to follow, it was a monumental job, and he handled it magnificently. So, Stefan, kudos to you, buddy. All right. Next thing, we're going to hear from, if we can pull him out from under the bus, we're going to have some comments from our esteemed vice president.
Let me fluff up my hair.
Oh yeah, do that. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You need a little more makeup.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
Cover the bruises. Intra-club outreach. KB8LNK, Ron. KG4SCK. Mark, stand up for a second. Right. So, what I did. These guys may or may not have been winning participants, so to speak. Thank you. You can sit back down. Everybody knows who you are now. But hi, Doug. Last spring and summer, we embarked pretty much every weekend on some sort of adventure with other clubs. Okay, we went to Maslin POTA events. We went to Maslin club meetings. We went to PCAR's POTA events. We went to some Maslin picnics. They have a taco bar. Just think about that for a second. Okay. Nor's. All right. We've been to how many Nor's lunches now? A bunch. Okay, a whole bunch. All right. They do things once a month. Anyway, we went out and visited people and represented SARA. And I wanted to see what some of the other clubs were doing for weekly events, because we are blessed here in Northeast Ohio, and pretty much every weekend there's some sort of event with a club up here within an hour or so of us. So that's all we did. I can think of no one less suited to go out and be friendly with everybody than me. But that's beside the point, all right? We did make a whole lot of friends, met a whole lot of people, and just real quick around the room, Worcester Club, raise your hands. Okay. Who's in Nor's? There's a couple of them. Maslin? A couple of them. All right. There's a whole lot of crossover here. We are not divided by geography in any way, shape, or form. I don't know how many repeaters you have programmed in your radios, but I can hit probably 12 or 15 from my house. So there's a lot of friendly people out there. And one of the things that I was working towards with that is in the future, and the future is now, is maybe coordinating some events with some other clubs, or at least making sure that we are making the announcements on our nets for the other clubs for their events, and in kind, we will make the announcements for our events on theirs. And what I want all of you as a club to think about and not answer me at the moment is, where do we want to go? Do we want to have more smaller events? Because in my less than perfect bedside manner way, when people ask, why doesn't SARA do POTA events? Or why doesn't SARA do this or that? I say, SARA does big events. We don't want to set up for 4 or 5 hours somewhere and only have 3 or 4 people show up. Okay. Now, we kind of helped that not happen a couple of times, didn't we, Ron and Mark? And so that was sort of where that was all sloping towards, and I'm going to continue in that direction. But I kind of got waylaid last summer and couldn't do everything I wanted to do, Dave. So, that was my fault, but Dave was there.
I did look in the rear view mirror.
Yeah, recognize the shirt? Yeah, this is it.
Imagine that doing a somersault, 180 degrees so that the sleeves are on the bottom, and then hearing a splash.
So, anyway, you guys think of things we want to do and get with me, all right? I'm not too hard to find. If you throw your call sign out on the radio, I'll probably answer you. On Maslin's repeater, on the 3.9, on the 2.75, and Lenny's repeater chain too, by the way. I'm usually hanging out there as well. But anyway, so think about things, and we can get some more stuff started. And we can do some smaller events, and we can get together with other clubs and maybe coordinate some things. We certainly do have a lot of crossover. So there you go. That's all I got.
Thank you, Nick. I got to say, he's been a fabulous vice president, and I have been fortunate to have him work with me and me work with him. When we don't beat each other up, it works out pretty well. All right, next up, looking forward. I guess that's me. So these are our areas of activity, and we're gonna conclude this here real quick. Technology, obviously, you heard what we've been doing. Operating events, we do a number of them. Social activities, we do some of that. Build projects, we do those too. And it's all about participation. When you have 100, just south of 150 members, participation should never be an issue. But what I really want to zero in on in this looking forward spiel is the talent that we have in this room right now and we have in the club. It's amazing. We have some serious talent, and I just ask that you share that talent with the club. And just by participation. There's a lot of things. We can be vibrant, or we can be lukewarm, or we can just kind of muddle along. But I will say this, if you're not busy growing, you're busy not growing.
Wow, how profound.
Astute from a teacher.
Yeah, I was going to say some other things, but I better not do that. Anyway, again, I do want to commend this group. We have some fabulously talented people, and that's what makes this club strong. And your participation is the bottom line. Absolutely.
Two things based on your slide up there. One is a build project that I would like to do is some kind of potato launcher to hang wires in my trees. I think that would be a useful thing for most people, just as useful as building a J-pole, which I did with the another project. So I think that would be a fun one.
We're going to do some fox hunts this year. Remember we talked
That's the other thing I was going to mention is Barbara Bone is looking to take care of Bob's equipment. I would be happy to kind of lead a fox hunting committee if we wanted to set up a couple of fox hunts every year. I'd like one to be a Bob Bone Memorial Fox Hunt, since he made a really nice transmitter. Everything's automatic. It's all in a single box. It's all battery. Everything's right there. All you do is you take the box in, you plug it into an antenna, and you're the fox. So I would love to do a Bob Bone annual memorial fox hunt, and I would be more than happy to lead a committee on that if anybody would like to engage in such a thing. But the last I heard is Barbara's getting ready to
this spring
figure out what to do with Bob's equipment. It's a big thing for her. What a sweet lady. I've met her 4, 5, 6 times, and just a wonderful person. I can understand her not wanting to part with the radios. From my understanding is she goes into Bob's shack and remembers Bob. So I would be happy to do whatever I can to make that kind of easier for her.
Okay, perfect. And I think that's a great idea. Russ?
Speaking of fox hunting, it would be nice to have a build project to build fox hunting equipment, like a Doppler and things to help you find the fox.
An attenuator.
An attenuator.
Okay. I actually, and those are great ideas. I really don't want to get into the weeds now tonight because I really want to get everybody out of here. And we're running a little late now already. So fabulous ideas. You're in the book. I'll never forget that. And Russ, I think it's a great idea. So anyway, we have the horsepower to do bigger and better things if the club wants to. But it's all about the club. It is all about the club participation. And again, I want to thank everybody who has put forward the effort that you have this past year to make this past year, the fabulous year that it was. And I look forward to even a better year coming up. With that, here's to working together for another stellar year. Fred.
I have a quick question. A
Sure.
couple of people have approached me and they've asked, does SARA have some kind of tutoring organization that they can allow us to attend and understand what the question pools are, how we're going to be asked this stuff, and can we get licensed a little bit easier rather than going to Ham Test Online or all these other places you've got. And if we could put something like that together, not only would we help some people get licensed, but I think we'd probably gain some more.
Very good. Well, yeah, Cuyahoga Falls does classes. As a matter of fact, they just advertised they have the class. And again, all of this is possible, but somebody's got to do it. And me and Jason and Nick and the officers, if you would, we're not the club. We're just trying to keep everybody marching in the same direction. Club activities are the responsibility of the club itself, the membership. So, and that's really the message for looking forward. Okay? All right. Last thing, the OCF, the Off-Center Fed Dipole Build project that we had last year, reprise. That means we're going to repackage one of them and give it away. Oh, no, that's not what it means. I'm sorry. So if you look at this picture, when the build was originally done, nice green grass, the garage doors are open, beautiful day, and everybody worked very hard. But my understanding, and I wasn't there for this, of course, was that not everybody finished their antenna. So this is the thing. I would like to have a reprise of the build project. We can do it at my house sometime in the nearer future. I first need to see who, is there anybody in the room right now who started the build but didn't finish it? 1, 2, 3. Was there a 4 someplace? Okay, 4? Okay, good. So we got 4 or 5 people. Here's what I have in my garage. I got to tell you, when I put that thing in my garage, I knew I arrived. Seriously. So I want to organize a reprise on the build. I haven't built mine at all. I haven't even started yet. Jason has already volunteered that he would come in and assist anybody that needs help. So it would be a lot of fun. And I do have a refrigerator actually right underneath this thing. It has dessert in it.
I also want to point out that even if you think you finished the build, we did not, people left before we got to putting like the RTV silicone in all the sealant holes.
Oh.
So we're going to have all of that stuff available. So even if you finished building it, no one actually sealed it because I still have both completely sealed tubes of RTV. So consider coming out to put the sealant on it.
Perfect. At any rate, we're going to get that organized. I'm going to send an email out to the group. And if you would like to participate in that in a nicely heated garage, we can do that. I'm not waiting until July. I got to build mine. That's money just, well, I mean, I got to use my heater. Jeez. Okay. All right. Anything else for the good of the cause? Questions, concerns, comments? Impeachment. Anything? All right, 50-50 raffle.
Anybody that didn't get their 50-50 needs to do it with their.
I say Betty picks the ticket.
Absolutely.
Anybody else need a 50-50 ticket?
What?
We're on every other month starting in February.
Do we got a bucket?
Just the Wayne County guys like to schedule their own papers. You drive I love it.
Tempting, isn't it?
It is. How did you get so cute? How did you get so cute? She's adorable. Wait a minute. I gotta do this. There we go. Motion for adjournment. What? Okay, Marty? Second, Stefan? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Just, yeah, okay, Andy and Betty are opposed.
They have to stay until we're all gone.
Yeah.
The other side's the same way.
Ken Digital Dorsey. He's going to talk about, part of the ham radio thing is giving back to the community. And Ken is the emergency coordinator for Summit County and will just give us an idea of what that is all about. There are a number of ways that you can give back. And if you're interested in that, it is a lot of fun, and it is an operating event, so you might consider some of these things. Anyway, Ken, you're up.
Okay, give me 1 second here. I'm trying to get the
1001.
Thanks, Gary.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. There we go.
Do you have the, does he have the mic?
Yeah, I'm mic'd up, so I am mic'd up. All right, gentlemen and ladies, good evening. First of all, let me say, I know that people have their own ideas about what they want to do when they get their ham radio license. Not everybody wants to do the same thing. But I do believe that a lot of ham radio operators do have a desire to help their communities and use ham radio to do that. So tonight I'm going to talk about two organizations that are really kind of great organizations for ham radio operators. The first one obviously is ARES. Now we do have several people in here that are new licensees. They may not know what ARES is or what it is. So I'm going to give a little bit of a background about ARES. Then I'm also going to talk about CERT. And CERT is the Community Emergency Response Team, and that's a little bit different. Anyone can join a CERT group as long as you have a desire to serve your community. So I'm going to take this heavy jacket off, or I'm going to burn up.
Don't do that.
Yeah. And yes, right, exactly. Oh, thank you for reminding me. I want to grab that stuff, yeah. Thanks for reminding me, Russ. So, all right, I'm going to play a short video about an emergency op that ARES was involved in. I don't know how loud this is going to be. I might blow us out of the room here, but I'll try to get to the volume as quickly as possible. If it'll load. Okay. Whoops. Try that again.
We've got traffic. We need medical assistance here. We have 3 injured people. This is a test. one with a head trauma
Oh,
and
it's
two
coming out of
minor
there.
injuries.
Run to the nearest police department or something, try and flag some cop on the road.
I hope people can hear
I
that.
have no idea. Smoke signals.
I would get on Wi-Fi and email to someone. So everything is down.
Pretty much.
Smoke signals.
Smoke signals?
Or flare would be good. I mean, yeah, okay. Flare. Who's talking smoke signals? Yell really loud.
Start burning everything. You'll see smoke, and they will come flying.
I would probably, I don't know, just maybe run to where they were at, or if that wasn't possible, maybe just yell for help or something.
Well, if there's no phones and we can't really do anything, I'd probably scream and yell for someone. We got big ones. Depends on how close they are. Maybe like run and go get them. Tell people, just make a phone line. Telephone, you know, pass it on.
For sure.
Yeah, if it could benefit me in an emergency, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think I would, just because if that's the only thing that was working, yeah, I definitely would. That would be awesome.
Oh, I most definitely would.
Well, yeah, if it wasn't like $1 million, of course I'd buy it. Oh, yeah.
I've just heard of it. I don't know what it is. No. No, what's ham radio?
Yeah, I have. The guy that I lived by in my hometown has it. I know that you have to have like a really big antenna, and like you can access like way far away than regular, just like a hand radio. It's like broadcasted further.
Yeah. Well, you don't necessarily have to have a big antenna.
Okay, so he has a big antenna. So kind of not really. Like I've heard it before, but I don't know what it is.
I've heard of it in Scouts, but I've never really done anything with it.
No.
So you don't know anything about it?
No. No, I have not.
We were used to pass information, health and welfare, be the eyes and ears for the police departments.
Johnson, or N7DMD to his friends, was at home in Bountiful when he got the call from the Davis County Sheriff yesterday morning. Communications were breaking down because of all the commotion, and the sheriff was wondering if some ham radio operators could help get messages through to emergency personnel. Within no time, Johnson had 18 volunteers who were staffed at cities throughout Davis County.
To have those ham radio operators on call, and even in our radio room, was a tremendous asset for us. The radio system was saturated. We were at the maximum.
The lines were so maxed out, sometimes dispatchers couldn't respond to police right away.
It was very scary for the dispatchers to push the button and not be able to talk for 3 minutes.
Which is why ham radio operators were called in to keep communications going. For Johnson, it was an all-day job, but one that kept him smiling every single minute of it. He knew his team made a difference.
We train for days, we live for days like this. This is some of the most excitement that we can have.
And ham radio operators in the area train every single week, and they have a general meeting once a month. It is all volunteer.
So that's just a small example of something that ham radio operators are involved with in the emergency side of things. And again, he said, you know, they live for days like that. They really want days like that. I'm the emergency coordinator for Summit County. If nothing happens in the county of Summit all year, I'm a happy camper. I do not live for emergencies. I would rather not have emergencies, but emergencies do happen, let's face it. So what is ARES? Well, the Amateur Radio Emergency Service basically consists of licensed amateur radio operators who have voluntarily registered their qualifications and equipment with their local ARES leadership for communications duty in the public service when disaster strikes. Every licensed amateur, regardless of membership in any other local or national organization, is eligible to apply for membership in ARES. The only qualifications that we require is that you have a possession of an amateur radio license, obviously, since it's an amateur radio group, and a sincere desire to serve. Because ARES is an amateur radio program, only licensed radio operators are eligible for membership. The possession of emergency-powered equipment is desirable, but it's not a requirement for membership. Now, I'll tell you, most of our guys have at least a generator or, batteries. They have some way of operating portable. We really would prefer you have some way of doing that, but it's not a requirement. If you tell us I've got a mobile on a power supply, hey, that's great, no problem. So, okay, didn't know which slide it was on there. This is an example of one of our credentialing systems. We do have, ARES has a credentialing system in the state of Ohio. If there actually is a true disaster in the state of Ohio, we are credentialed through this credentialing system. So this credentialing system basically tells the first responders or your police or fire that you are allowed to be where you are. You're allowed to be working this event. This happened to be a credential that was given to me in 2016 when we worked the RNC. ARES in Medina County, Summit County, and Cuyahoga County, when they had the RNC, the Republican National Convention in Cleveland, we actually worked all the communications for that event, all the emergency communications for that event. And it was kind of scary because, they didn't know what was going to happen. They really thought there was going to be a major, major issue. And I'll show some pictures later. We were stationed with the Red Cross, and the Red Cross had they had shelters set up all over Summit County, and they were ready to go. They were ready to put people in shelters. They were expecting to have to take the entire, basically the entire city of Cleveland and bring them into Summit County, every resident in the city of Cleveland. That's how bad they thought this might get. So, but this was the credentialing for that particular event that I had to have on me. And also, this is a good idea for anyone that does do events like emergency events and things. What I did is I went out and I got this notebook out at Staples, I think, or something. It has a clear panel on the front that you can slide papers in. So I put my license right on the front page. So you have to have your license with you anyway. So why not just have the book with your license on it? I actually also have my my GMRS license in there too, because when I'm working with CERT, we're doing GMRS work, so I have a license for the GMRS work that we're doing. And then inside the book, I have all of my FEMA certificates, everything that I've done that requires some kind of certificate that I've received a certificate for, community mass care management. I have all my Red Cross, various Red Cross shelter certificates, AED certificates, CPR certificates, Stop the Bleed, my CERT certificate. So all of my certificates are in this book. So all I have to do is have this book with me whenever I go to an event or a call-up, and that way I have everything. If somebody comes up to me, let's say, we had the FBI screening us very, very diligently when the RNC was here, and they wanted proof that you actually had the credentials to be there. Not only just this credential, but they wanted to see that you had your ICS training, your Incident Command System training. So it was great to have this book. I could just whip open a page and say, here's my ICS 400 training. That's, what else do you want to see? So that's kind of a good idea, I think, to have something like that just handy to just carry with you when you do go out on a special event, even just a special event. When we do the marathons, things like that, I always have that book with me. So what are the requirements for membership in Summit County ARES? Well, in order to meet the requirements being set forth by our served agencies to be eligible to be considered a full member of Summit County ARES, the organization requests that all members meet the following criteria. We ask that a member participates in at least one ARES-sanctioned public service event per year. That's just so we get to see your face and we know you can use a radio. You know, if you say, sign up for Aries, you say, oh yeah, I'll be there when you need me. Well, and you come and your radio is not programmed, and we've had that happen before. I've had people show up for an event and say, I'm here, I'm ready to work, but I don't have my radio programmed. I'm like, well, you know, that's not the time for us. We don't have time to be programming somebody's radio in the middle of an event. So that's, you know, we just like to make sure that you have the ability to handle an event, and this is the way we do our training, you know, public service events. That's the way to find out where you're lacking. We also ask that the member attends at least 2 Aries meetings per year. We have 11 meetings. We have a meeting every month, except for December, so you can certainly make 2 Aries meetings. And then we also ask that the member has their current NWS Skywarn Spotter ID training. That's very important too, because now in Summit County it's a little bit different. Most of the counties with Aries and Skywarn are kind of together. In Summit County, Skywarn has their own group, so it's a little bit different, but we still request that they have their Skywarn IDs because we may still have to use our people too at some point. We also require that if you want to do full membership, we require you do the ICS 100, 200, 700, and 800 certifications. And that's not something that we do because we're Aries. That's something we do because the EMA requires all of our people to have that. And if you don't know what the ICS is, it's the Incident Command System. It's something that was set up several years ago for first responders primarily, probably not so much police. The fire uses it probably more than police, but they want, in order for us to work with the EMA, we have to be certified with those courses because they want us to know, they want to know that we know what we're talking about. If we say like an IC, Incident Commander, or you know, a POC, a PIC, a Public Information Officer. You have to know all this stuff that goes along with this because that's what the fire and the police are going to be talking. They're going to be talking in the Incident Command System. So that's why we require it. It's not a requirement on our side, it's a requirement for the EMA. We also, we don't do this too much anymore. We don't require that you do the EMCOM, the MCOM, or the, either one of the MCOM trainings. You can do those if you want. It's not bad to do those, but it's not a necessary thing to really have anymore. And our meetings are held on the 3rd Wednesday of each month. Obviously, like I said, there's no meetings in December. We are doing a meeting in November now because we had to move up to the Wednesday. The Red Cross asked us to move our meetings from Thursday night to Wednesday night. So now we're doing Wednesday night meetings each month at 6 p.m. at the Akron chapter of the American Red Cross on Market Street near downtown Akron. So how do we train? Well, we have a weekly Monday night digital net at 7, and then we follow that up with a phone net at 7:30 on the Aries repeater system. So that's part of training. When you're doing, nets, SARA nets, you're training yourself, whether you know it or not. You're doing some training there. So we do use our system for our training on Monday night, on our Monday night nets. We have 4 repeaters in Summit County. 444.55 is the frequency, and then each repeater has a different PL tone. So the Akron repeater has a PL tone of 131.8. The Green site has a repeater tone of 225.7. The Norton site has a repeater tone of 88.5, and the Twinsburg site has a repeater tone of 114.8. So you can get into any one of those 4 repeaters pretty well in all of Summit County. And we also do have a backup repeater in Richfield if we need to bring that online. We also have Echolink. So our Echolink node is W8ODJ-R, or the node number is 962490. And then there's also weekly Ohio Aries HF nets on Tuesday night at 7 on 3902 megahertz, lower sideband, of course, voice. And then they have the Ohio Digital Emergency Net, or the ODEN net, at 7:45 on 3585 USB, since it's digital, and they use Olivia 8500 with 1.5K passband. There's also a weekly Ohio Aries DMR net on Monday night at 8:30 on the Ohio Talk Group, which is 3139. So there's a lot of nets that we're using to do Aries, and again, a lot of those are training. I will say the phone net right now on HF is not in session. It's not going to be back online until March. They're taking 2 months off, mostly because that's done from the EMA at the state EMA in Columbus, and a lot of the guys that work that station have to drive 25, 30 miles to get there, and they just don't want to do it in the winter, and I can't blame them. So they don't have the HF phone net right now. And then the Ohio Aries section has a yearly set, a simulated emergency test once every year in October, and we occasionally conduct our own sets in the county, and we take part in emergency drills run by Summit County EMA. There's also a yearly Aries conference held in Central Ohio for all 88 Ohio Aries counties, which are comprised of 10 districts, although there hasn't been one in the last couple of years because of COVID and all that. And then we also provide communications for many special events. So we provide communications for the Stowe 4th of July Parade, the Goodyear Half Marathon, the Portage Lakes Triathlon, the Akron Marathon, the Susan J. Komen 5K Race Walk, and the Gennesaret Home Run for the Homeless. We participate in all of those events for communications, doing communications for them. So recent deployments, back in 2015, which was a long time ago, there was a 9/11 or 911 outage affecting 7 counties: Summit, Medina, Portage, Stark, Mahoning, Trumbull, and Wayne, including all the Marks communication systems went down. And we had fun with that, didn't but anyway, and then in 2016, like I said, the RNC. 2017, multiple hurricanes, of course, hit the U.S. and the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. We actually had one gentleman from our group actually go down to the islands and help with the hurricane situation with communications. And then 2018, we assisted Mahoning County EMA with flood damage assessment, and that was during the flooding, the bad flooding they had in Mahoning County. We are on the web. We have a website. It's www.summitares.org. You can find us there, and you can find our information, all of our meeting information, and everything that's current on the site. We serve the following agencies. We serve the Emergency Management Agency of Summit County, the American Red Cross, the Salvation Army, Summit County Skywarn, the Ohio Citizen Corps, the Ohio Responds, and CERT, of course. And so real quick, let's go on. Okay, this was the RNC. This was the Red Cross downtown Akron during the RNC, and they were fully staffed. Like I said, they were ready for a major, major event, and they had their entire crew. Our radio room is back here behind these doors, so we had kind of our own separate. We get noisy. We're radio people, you know. We get make a lot of noise, so they put us in a separate room. But that was our radio room back there. And this is looking out of the radio room into the Red Cross Center. That's one of their ERVs, emergency response vehicles. That was me playing with the radios in the emergency response vehicle. They have full ham radio communications equipment in their ERVs. And this was our setup. We actually had 3 radios set up for amateur, and then the Red Cross had a radio for all of their communications, and they actually told us, they sat us down, they told us, we don't have time to man that station. Can you use one of your guys and man that station? So not only were we doing amateur radio communications, but we were doing Red Cross communications using the Red Cross business band. So they kept us pretty busy, but those were the HF and the VHF radios, and then that was the Red Cross radio up there. And we had digital. We had full FL Digi if we needed to use digital. And then we had a few people that people might recognize that were working the site. There's Russ there, and Paul, and Greg, and Dave. And that's my Go box. You don't need to see that. This is our setup at the Goodyear Half Marathon. We're using my Go boxes for the communications. This is the Akron Marathon, again using my Go box for the comms. This is the EMA, the Emergency Operations Center in Akron, downtown Akron. It's just a couple pictures. This is our equipment in the EMA downtown. Now we are moving our EMA. They just set up a brand new communications center out in Talmadge. So we're going to be moving all of our communication stuff out there. They put up a brand new tower for us. We're going to have a beam on it and a VHF, UHF vertical, and it's going to be just sweet. But right now all of our stuff is still downtown. This is the EMA room in Medina County. It was anyhow. Is it still the, do they?
No,
they don't.
Emergency Operations Center.
It's,
Yeah, but we're at,
okay, they changed it. Yeah, these slides are old.
that
So.
is still the emergency.
Oh, is still the Emergency Operations Center? Okay. So that's the EOC in Medina. And this is the state EOC. You can see they have quite a few antennas. This tower belongs to Aries. I don't think anything else does. I know this is ours, and then you can't really see it very well, but there's also a dipole that's stretched between this tower and this tower that actually they use for HF. So that's the Emergency Operations Center. This is what the floor of the Emergency Operations Center looks like in Columbus. This is looking out of a second-story window. They have conference rooms on the second story with these nice big picture windows. You can look out and down onto the floor to see what's happening. And all of this stuff is underground. I mean, it's not like right up on top of the, you look at this entrance here, and that entrance is not where that room is. That room is buried underground. And this is the room when it's actually activated. That little window up in the corner here, that's where that first picture was taken from, was that window. And this was a drill. They were doing a drill for, I think it was it Davis-Bessie nuclear? On this side of the lake, I forget which one's which. I think that's Bessie over there, but they were doing a drill for the Bessie nuclear power plant, or one of the nuclear, or Perry, that's what it is, it's Perry, thank you. I always get them confused, but, so that's a little bit about Aries. Now I'm gonna run real quick through a couple of videos for CERT. So what CERT is the Community Emergency Response Team, and they, again, you can be a member of CERT and you don't have to have any, there's no requirements to be a member of CERT. You don't have to have a license or anything, a ham radio license. There are a lot of ham radio operators that are also CERT members. In fact, how many, raise your hands if you're a CERT member in here. So yeah, so we've got, and Dave, I guess, left, but Dave's also a CERT member. So we have a lot of CERT members. The Aries group in Summit County did a ham cram for CERT because we wanted to get as many CERT people as we could. So we set up a Saturday morning, had everybody there at 8 o'clock in the morning. We did a ham cram from 8 to 4, and at 4 we stopped with the session. We did testing, and we had 16 CERT members show up, and out of the 16, only one person didn't pass their test. So we immediately gained 15 new ham radio operators that their whole desire in life is to be helping, you know, the community. So I'm going to just run a couple of videos here for CERT, give you an idea what they are here. I hope. Whoop. I'll get out of the way.
CERT, your Community Emergency Response Team. The CERT program educates people about disaster preparedness and trains them in basic emergency response skills, such as home and fire suppression safety, light search and rescue, life-saving emergency medical operations, and team organization skills. training to accomplish the greatest good for the greatest number. When a major disaster happens, it will overwhelm local emergency response capability. CERT members can apply essential first response training learned in the classroom and from real-life exercises to give critical support to family, neighbors, and our community until help arrives.
I signed up because I know that eventually there will be a disaster in our area. It's inevitable, and we might as well be prepared.
This is a great opportunity, and I can't say enough good things about the training that I received. And the people that were training us, they're excellent, they know their job, and we learn a lot of good things from them.
Turning on your gas, turning off your gas, turn off the electricity, or stop your water supply in case of an emergency. All those little things that you might not think would be that difficult, you have a chance to do them firsthand and leave knowing and feeling more confident that you'll be able to handle that even just for your own household.
It's going to help. The CERT program is a very good idea, and I believe more people are going to get involved. I think we've just seen the first swell of many.
Oh, I highly recommend that anyone who possibly can to take the training. If several people in every neighborhood has had the training when a disaster comes, those few people can pull other people together and help them help each other in their neighborhood. I think it would be good for church groups, for clubs, for other organizations to work together at recruiting other people to come in to get the training for CERT.
Okay. So we're very blessed in Summit County. We actually have 3 CERT groups in Summit County. We have the Twinsburg CERT group, we have a CERT group in Copley, and then Summit County actually has a county-wide CERT group. To get your CERT training, you basically have to go through a 16-hour training session. It's usually held like 2 Saturdays for 8 hours. This is the book, this is the actual training book that you will go through during that training. And they teach you, basically like the video said, they'll teach you everything from search and rescue to putting out a fire. If you've never used a fire extinguisher, a lot of people have never used a fire extinguisher. They actually set up a fire and you'll actually walk in with a fire extinguisher and put a fire out. Now, obviously, it's all safe. You're not going to, they aren't going to let you burn or something. But anyway, it's a good program. They teach first aid basics. They teach a lot of basic stuff that really is just good knowledge. CERT actually became popular back in 1985 when they had the Loma Pelona earthquake in California. And, during that earthquake, a lot of people wanted to rescue people, and they ended up being, either killed or ended up as victims themselves. And they realized in California, the EMA realized, hey, we've got people that want to do this, that want to help, but they aren't trained, they don't have the right equipment, and we really need to correct that. And that's how CERT was born. So CERT was actually born in California to give, people that have earthquakes and things like that, because they just know that first responders are not going to get to everybody immediately. And this way you can help your neighbors, you can help your community, and then the first responders can do what they do best. Now I'm going to play one more short video, and then we're out of here. How many people watch Ham Radio Crash Course on YouTube? Josh. A lot of people do. Okay. Josh took the CERT training 6 years ago, and he did a video on it. Now, the first half is a video. He just talks about their Go Kit. So you do get this nice Go bag. It is filled with goodies. Mine's a little more filled than others. Got everything in here. But they give you a hard hat, a helmet, they give you goggles, they give you work gloves, they give you chemical light sticks, all kinds of stuff. This is all part of it's free, all part of the CERT program that's free. Our CERT team even got these nice jackets for free. Our CERT team got jackets for everyone, and I don't know whose budget it came out of, but I'm okay with that. But anyway, Josh did this video. I hope he doesn't mind me playing some of it. I cut it down a little bit because the first half of the video, he just talks about his Go Kit and what all is in the Go Kit, and we don't have to see that. But he does talk about the actual experience, and it's very good. Now, I will tell you something. He says something in the video that probably will take a lot of people back. He says that they tell us not to do CPR, okay? That doesn't mean we aren't trained in CPR. We're trained every year. We have CPR training. Every year we do CPR training. The thing with CERT is, CERT's goal is to help as many people as fast as possible, basically. So if you're sitting there doing CPR on someone, there could be someone else 200 yards away that has maybe a very bad break in a leg or something, that has a femoral bleed or something, where a tourniquet would stop that. You could put a tourniquet on that person and they would live. So you don't want to spend a lot of time doing CPR on people. You just can't. And that's, unfortunately, in a major event like that, the first responders have the same situation. They have to just take care of the masses of people that they can take care of as quickly as they can take care of them. So that's why he says they don't tell us to do CPR, because it's not something you'd want to do if you're trying to do a mass casualty event.
So what is CERT? CERT, again, to repeat, Community Emergency Response Team. In the most layman's terms, to me, what I've learned in the 21 hours of taking the class, it is an education program for the individual about how to be prepared in the case of an emergency. So CERT's primary goal is to provide skills to the individuals taking the class so that they don't become a victim or get hurt in the act of helping in other people. Because, as it's largely proven out, people of a certain mindset are gonna themselves want to get involved and try and help. And when those people don't have the proper plan or the proper procedures, the proper planning and equipment or whatever, they too find themselves victims. In fact, that's one of the largest things that kills people who try and first respond, is that they don't have a plan and they don't have proper equipment. So CERT tries to fix that, because I think they acknowledge that there's certain people in society that just want to help. I would be like one of those people. So there's the skills associated with equipment, the syllabus, the book, all this stuff that they give you by taking this class. And what do they cover? Well, they cover things depending on what area of the country you're from. In my area, they largely cover things like earthquakes, and they talk a lot about earthquakes and home destructions, and when is not a good time to go into this particular building to look for people. I tell you when you're in a building, how to perform a search. A right-hand search method is you scour with your right hand against the wall with a buddy, go through a house and find the victims. They tell you how to triage. Why is triage important? Well, there's 4 types of triage. Black would be deceased, red would be in need of immediate care, yellow is delayed need, and green is minor. Well, you need to go triage everybody, because you could meet 3 people. The first people you meet in the house are green, whereas the last person is red in need of immediate care. So triage the whole house, then transport out your reds, get them immediate care, and then work on everybody else. It will also teach you a little bit about fire, how to handle a fire extinguisher. Again, a lot of this is common sense. A lot of this is stuff that you can find here on YouTube, and you would probably be equipped to operate one. The advantage of taking this class, which for me, again, this class was free, 21 hours of my time, I feel I got a lot out of it. I've used a fire extinguisher before. I've splint a leg, no, I splint 2 arms, never splint a leg. I've stopped bleeders, not arterial blood bleeders, but vein, not capillary vein, is that right? Something like that. I removed fish hooks from people who got fish hooked while we were out fly fishing. I've dealt with some minor, although to serious, it was never an external break, first aid. With that said, I learned a lot from this class. I learned a lot of acronyms like RPM, respiratory, I always get the second P. Perfusion, right? I remember, I've heard that term before in like a song. But perfusion is, so R is anybody who's breathing over 30 breaths a minute needs to be tagged red. They are in need of immediate care. Perfusion, hold down squeeze your pinky finger, let it go. If the blood returns in less than 2 seconds, you're good. If it doesn't return quickly, that means you have a perfusion problem. You need to be yellow or red. And then if you have M, or memory or mental. If you have problems answering simple questions as a victim, then you need to go and be tagged red or yellow and be taken out of that situation. It's pretty simple stuff, right? This is not advanced first aid, nothing like that. And the equipment here is not advanced first aid. They don't give you CPR masks. They don't want you performing CPR. They show you how to splint an arm. They show you how stuff like that. But that's all pretty standard. And believe it or not, between airway stopping bleeding and treating for shock, that takes care of a lot of people. And the motto, going back to what I said earlier about CERT, is do the most good for the most amount of people in the shortest amount of time. And that pretty much sums up the program. It covers the very basics of a lot of things in the attempts to hopefully cover most victims who find themselves in a disaster like an earthquake or a fire or whatever. Now, what I found extremely interesting, and this is a California thing. If you lived in Louisiana, it could be a flooding thing. If you lived in different parts of the country, it could be a tornado thing. Heck, it could even be a volcano thing. There are disasters that will completely take out the infrastructure. Fire, sheriffs, police, they'll get taken out. In fact, I took multiple pages of notes just on these little pearls of wisdom that our instructor gave out. It is assumed by FEMA that anywhere from 3 to 10 days of infrastructure downtime. That could be telephones, that could be fire, that could be the police, it could be hospitals, whatever. So you could pick up the phone at work, you could call the hospital, or you could call the fire department, and they may not answer because they're either unable to respond, or they're busy, or whatever. Interesting fact, the instructor told us, is that 80% of fire stations at the moment of a disaster won't be able to respond. Either power lines will fall in front of the station, the trucks won't be able to get out, people will flee. Not saying firefighters will flee, but people will flee, they'll come to the station, they'll be wrapped up, they won't be able to even get out of the station, right? So what does that mean? Well, it means that you potentially have to be on your own for upwards of 10 days. And what do we know from all the things that I've talked about in my videos before? Supermarkets only have 3 days worth of food. There's only 3 days worth of supplies in any given store. That includes Walmart, one of the biggest stores, right? Or Costco, or Sam's Club, or whatever. There's only so much food to go around. And when the looting starts, where's the last place you want to be? In a grocery store. When the fights start breaking out and guns start coming out and people start potentially causing fires to happen. So many things go wrong, so many things you want to avoid. And believe it or not, the CERT training really helps you identify that, where the holes are in your system, what you do know, what you don't know, what you need to learn. I have a couple of things. I'll leave this, I'll wrap this video up with this little talk. We simulated an event, one of the last things you do. So first day is just kind of a preparation of what the whole rest of the time is going to be. The second day, you simulate a small pan fire. You put that out with the fire extinguisher. That was fun. Third day, though, you do a simulated event, and you're supposed to walk through the process of extricating people from a building that was damaged in some way. And this can vary, but let's just put it this way. It's a MASH casualty event. I believe that an MCR or MCE, something like that. There are acronyms for everything. Let me tell you, boy oh boy. I'm an engineer, right? You guys know I'm an engineer. We have acronyms for everything. We work with the military. I was astonished at the amount of acronyms and little colloquialisms that our instructor had. Solidly impressed. They weren't cheesy acronyms, they were all good acronyms. So kudos. If you're watching, I told them to watch this video or these videos when they come out. So I was the ICS, CERT Leader Incident Commander. I was the incident commander. He threw me the clipboard and said, you're in charge, you've got 3 groups. I had 2 SAR teams and 1 treatment team. There was an earthquake, and it was my job to coordinate with the leads of every one of those groups and hopefully rescue some people. Turns out there were 7 people. What we did first was I assumed that all these, so ideally there's a lot of delegation here, right? This lines up, oddly enough, lines up a lot with my work that I do as an engineer. But you delegate to a person, and you let that person either on their own or within the team that they lead go off and do their work, and you assume they're doing the right thing. But you sometimes got to check in. So we had 2 really good teams, well, 3 really good teams. And the 2 SAR teams, first SAR team 1, led by a cool guy, who I also told to watch this video, so if you're watching it, comment below, went off and they started doing their search and rescue, their triage, right? So they're going through the building, they did their check to make sure no gas leaks, no fires, no cracks, no major walls damaged, whatever. And they go through and they're looking for people, and time is going on. I've got my stopwatch out. 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So I start freaking out, and immediately I go, this was poor planning on my part. I should have done something differently. In a perfect world, what would they all have had? They would have had radios, right? We're 500 feet, less than 500 feet away from each other. It's easy to talk in radio. We didn't do the training for radio. I didn't have enough time to talk anybody up, and I didn't have enough people with their own FRS radios to do this, or let alone ham radios. We didn't have stopwatches. What would have been a good way of doing this? Say, 5 minutes, I need you to come out. I need you to send a runner to tell me what's going on. Or I should have had a runner. I should have sent somebody in, or he should have sent someone back. Didn't even think about it in the heat of a moment. Major, amazing takeaway. So if you're ever in a situation where you're working with a team, have a runner, have an agreed-to time on a stopwatch, with an alarm maybe, have a radio. Radio, man. I love radio. So after SAR Team 1 came back with a map, a crudely drawn map of where all the victims were, SAR Team 2 was the large muscle. They had all the backboards. They had all the ability to carry people out. I co-located the two teams together, sent them back in to pull the people out. I kept the map, or we shared the map just in case we needed to send in more people, whatever. Then all hell breaks loose, right? As the people start coming out, treatment team, who has these 3 tarps on the ground, which you'll see hopefully in the videos, has these 3 tarps on the ground. We're staging the reds and bringing out yellows and bringing out greens. And as we're bringing out these people, there are people who are going from yellows to reds. They're getting worse. Greens to yellow, yellows to red, and they become more affected by their ailments. Everybody's gone into high gear. The SAR Team SAR Team 2 has now taken over involvement with treatment, turned into a very cool learning experience. I took away a lot from it, and really, the biggest thing to take away is it's going to be chaos. It's absolutely going to be chaos, and the only thing you can do is have some kind of action. Stay within what it is you know how to do. Don't go beyond that. But again, try to help the most people possible. Do the thing that gets people 90, 95% of the way there. Respiratory, stopping the bleeders, entering for shock, splinting the brakes if you have those. Get people into a safe area, not under power lines, away from buildings if buildings were to fall, etc. And that's sometimes the best you can do. And then just be there and try and help them, bring water, whatever you got. You know, at that point, that's where my preps take over and say, okay, we've got food, we've got power, we've got comms, we've got a lot of things to protect us, to keep us safe, whatever, in the forest department. It all just, you know, it just tells me more that I'm doing the right thing, I'm on the right track, and I hope that you guys, maybe this plants a little bit of seed to go check out what kind of cert options there are for you. FEMA website has more information. I'll try and remember to post the link. I'm sorry I didn't do that on the last one. This video is running really long, but I think I'm just going to put it up in its full form and let you guys enjoy it. And if you have any questions, you know, post them below. I love all the comments, you guys. Even when we disagree, I do learn something, so always hit me with the truth. Never hold back. If you enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up. If you have not already, please subscribe, and I'll talk to you, as always, tomorrow.
All right, so that's basically a little bit about CERT. Summit County does have training usually once a year. It's usually hard to get into because a lot of people want to take it, and they obviously have limited class sizes because of the classes, but that's all I have. Are there any questions about ARES or CERT? Nothing. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Get home safe.